Have you ever had a goal and at first you were super motivated and then the excitement wears off and it all just kind of fizzles out? Yeah, I think we've all been there before. Well, with the new year around the corner, I thought it was the perfect time to talk about goals, but more specifically goal setting. And I wanted to share how I break down my goals in a way that can hopefully help someone else out there. It is so pretty out today. And I don't know if you know this or you need the reminder like I did, but you don't have to wait till January to work on your goals. You can work on your goals at any point of the year, at any point that you choose. It is a choice. It literally just comes down to a choice of you deciding that you want to go for something. And the new year, I believe, is a great time to do that, but you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait, and I don't know who needed that reminder, but you're welcome. It is so nice out, this weather. It's been so stormy the last couple of days, so I am soaking this all in. And I've also recently been addicted to matcha. I don't know, my boyfriend's been getting them a lot and I've been like stealing sips, but I'm kind of craving going to get my own for the very first time. I don't know, it feels really wild. I'm usually a tea girl, so this feels like very out of my comfort zone, but I think I need to soak up these vibes because if you know, with the Melbourne weather, you gotta enjoy it while it's here. Okay, so I have this crazy thing to tell you about, and I don't know, I'm a little nerve-wracked talking about it. I don't know, there's just something about it that feels so nerve-wracking once you start putting it out there on the internet. But I'm gonna enjoy this matcha and we'll talk about the goals when I get back home. It feels way warmer out there than it is supposed to feel. It says it's 11 degrees, but I was literally sweating and I have a beanie on. People were giving me weird looks like, why do you have long sleeves and a beanie on? Because it said it's 11 degrees out. Like, it's Melbourne though. I should have known. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful out. Anyway, I am starving. So let's heat up some meal prep, have our ginger shots, and then we will break down all the goals because I've got a really big goal, guys. So my big goal is that I want to tackle a 100-kilometer plus hike. I know some of you might think that's crazy and some of you might be like, okay, what's the big deal? But hear me out. This is a 110-kilometer hike on one of the most iconic roads in Australia. That sounds like a pretty big deal to me. And it can take up to 8 days to complete. I'm hoping to do it in a lot less than that, so I'm starting to train for it. And again, that might not seem like a big deal to some people out there, but there's a whole backstory to this. I've been dealing with this hip glute injury for the last almost 5 years now. It's left me with a lot of chronic pain that I deal with daily. It's just something that I've been navigating that's really impacted the way that I can move my body. There was a point where I struggled walking down the street and my partner had to help me walk to the bathroom from the couch. Like, it got pretty bad. For me to take on any sort of physical challenge while I'm still navigating this, I still don't have any sort of real diagnosis. It feels a bit crazy because most days I feel really defeated by this injury. It's just been a big physical and mental challenge. I can't remember the last time that I felt excited about challenging my body because I've just been in this space of fully trying to accept that I am living with this. I thought my body would just heal and it was just an injury and it would heal and I wouldn't deal with it in 5 years from now. I never thought that this would still be a part of my life. So it's been a struggle for me to mentally accept that. And I finally feel like I'm in a place where I am ready to push myself again and see what my body can handle now. And I've gotten a little stronger. I want to feel stronger. I want to feel fitter. And it is really important to me. And one of my big goals is to feel stronger and fitter as I age. because I know that it plays a big role in the longevity of what I'll be able to do with my life. Over the next couple of decades of my life, I want to travel way more than I have. And so it is very important that my body is fit and capable to do so. Maybe it's crazy for me to think that I can tackle this big goal, but I'm gonna give it a fair shot. So that's my big goal. And I've already started a 12-month walking training plan. I don't know what you want to call it, just so I can start working on being able to tackle something like this. Because for me, in my head, this seems like such a massive goal. I feel like giving myself 12 months, a whole year to tackle it, makes me feel a little better. I don't know, maybe that sounds crazy. But I wanted to use this as an opportunity to share with you how I break down a big goal that feels like this is so big. And it almost is like so far away, you know what I mean? So how do you break that down and like slowly work towards that and like make smaller goals that will help you reach your other goals? That's what I'm gonna share with you today. I feel like I've got it down into a system that kind of works for me, so I wanted to share. It might help someone else, it might not, hopefully it will. First, obviously you need to have a clear vision of where you're headed, like a point A to point B. For me, it's where I'm currently at now to being able to walk 110 kilometers with some sort of ease. I don't know if ease is the right word, but you know what I mean. Next, it's what is the realistic, and keyword is realistic, what is the realistic timeline for this goal? And for me, I'm giving myself 12 months. And a lot of other people might have been able to train for 6 months or 3 months, 2 months. You know, I've seen people do these like extreme like training for a marathon in 2 months or whatever, 30 days, whatever. That's not me, okay? That's not where I'm at. That's not realistic for me. I had to get real. I had to get real and honest with myself. So we have a 12-month timeline. And I think that's going to allow me to do this in a slow and steady pace and really build up that endurance and the strength for something like this. Because I'm giving myself such a realistic timeline, it's actually giving me a little bit of hope that, you know, maybe we can do this. Next, I break it down into 3 to 5 mini goals that add up to the bigger goal. And I make sure that those goals are action-based. So I talk a lot about action-based goals versus results-based goals. And I'm just so big on action-based goals and really focusing on like tangible things that you can take away and do to work towards your goals. Versus just like, I want to walk more. It's like, I'm going to walk 3 times a week. Like, you know, it's more defined and it's focused around an action versus like a desire. From those 3 to 5 mini goals, I then break it down to 3 to 5 actionable steps for each of those mini goals. And if this feels so overwhelming, stick to the lower end of that, the 3. Don't push yourself to do 5 if it's really feeling overwhelming. Don't do it because you feel like you should. Like if the 3 feels comfortable and doable, do the 3. Do the 3 and like be proud of yourself. I like to build in some sense of like accountability, and that's what I call like a fail-safe plan, because things are going to go wrong. If you plan for things to go wrong, when they go wrong, you're not gonna go into this overwhelmed like bubble and like throw everything out the window and that all or nothing mindset. So it's like that saying, like fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Like prepare for things to go wrong, and then when they go wrong, you still will have something in place so that you can still be working towards where you need to go. You know what I mean? I'll break down more about how I do my fail-safe plan to give you an idea of that. Another important part is just checking your mindset before you begin, and just like, what is the mindset that I want to be in during this challenge or during this pursuit of this goal? Like, what is the mindset that I want to embody during this timeline? And another form of like accountability is like a tracking measure. How are we going to track this? How are we going to like organize this? How are we going to like lay this all out? Like, what do you need to set up so that you can focus on the next week ahead and reevaluate as things come up? Have eyes on how this is going to work in your life and around other things. Like, that's important too, and that's going to look different for everyone. You know, I like to use Notion, but I really like to use physical little calendars that I print from offline for free. I like using those and just putting them on the wall in my bedroom so I can physically check things off, and I will share more about that as well. That's like the 7 areas that I really focus on when it is coming to my goals. I want to use the example of this 100-kilometer hike as an example of how I break it down, so you can get like a real life example, and I'll show you everything that I did in my Notion so that you can have a picture of it, because I'm such a visual person. So I have it here in my Notion with my big goal. My big goal is to hike 110 kilometers and feeling strong and fit. At the end of this training, I want to feel strong and fit and be capable of hiking 110 kilometers without like it destroying my body. Like I said, my realistic timeline, I'm giving myself 12 months to tackle this goal. My 3 to 5 mini goals are to walk for 8 hours without flaring my injury up, to improve my lower body and core strength, and to have a proper hiking gear set up, because yep, you guessed it, I don't have any gear for this challenge. I'm not a hiker. I don't know if I said that, but I am not a hiker. But at the end of this, I'm hoping that I have a pretty basic like beginner hiker setup. I really want to like get intentional and start like really getting that together. So those are my 3 to 5 mini goals. Then we'll go down to the actionable steps for each of those mini goals. Goal number 1, walk for 8 hours. My actionable steps are slowly build up my endurance in 4 phases. That's the walking plan that I've put together. And then start introducing more walks, like 3 times a week. And then slowly increasing those walks, maybe do 4 times a week. That's a whole other thing, my walking training plan. And I actually used ChatGPT to help create that for me. So the next thing is to switch up where I'm walking throughout the training process. So I have a treadmill at home that I'll be using, trails, the sidewalk. I want to go to different trails that have different elevation and different surfaces, and just allow myself to really feel how my body goes on different surfaces. My third actionable step for goal number 1 is to wear proper shoes for my walking training. So yeah, I really didn't have any good like walking shoes. Like my shoes were so worn out. I just got some new shoes. I don't know if they're the best for walking. I might look into that, and that might be something else that I add to my goal list, like for the gear part. But we'll see. Then we have goal 2, to improve my lower body and core strength. And my 3 actionable steps for that is to continue using the Sweat app that I use to do my strength training. I've also listed the programs within that app that I want to tackle within this time frame. Add in an extra core workout into my weeks. And then I want to practice wearing heavier gear or a backpack when I do my walks in the later phases of my plan. Goal number 3, have a proper hiking gear setup. So my first step for that is to have a central place to put all the info for hike and gear needed, and add to that list as I go. So my central place is going to be Notion. I'm going to create a little gear list in Notion that I can add to and add links into, so I can refer back and start slowly ticking them off. Next step is to prioritize what are must-have items and what are wants. You know, sometimes there's cool little gadgets that are just like, oh, that would be nice to have, but like I really obviously need to budget for this. So like, what are my must-have items? And so I might have like a must-have and like a wants list. I don't know how I'm gonna break it down yet, but just getting clear on that. Next step is to do my research to find the best deals, YouTube videos, Facebook groups, and website comparisons to really like find the best deals and learn about the gear and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I'm completely new to all of this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, I want to like do some proper research and really look into that and see what's really necessary for this kind of trip and what I can leave behind. Next is choose an item or 2 per month that I'll slowly start purchasing. Like I said, like I need to budget for this. And then start putting money aside for the bigger purchases. Also getting them early enough so that I can test them out in like real life situations, instead of just buying it a week before the trip and never knowing how to use it or if it's really even functional. And then I want to do a practice overnight camping trip with the gear before the hike. Again, for the same reasons that I just listed. And so you can see that goal 3, I think I added 6 things there, 6 actionable steps to work towards. Because the other ones I'm already doing. I'm already walking. I'm already doing my weights and lifting. So I just need to like increase that and like really just stay focused with those things. When it comes to the gear, like I am completely new to that. So I really want to make sure that I put a lot of energy into that goal. So once I do that, I will then use that information from my actionable steps to create my weekly to-do list each week. And it will give me a better idea of what I want to focus on. I've given an example weekly to-do list. Let's say for this week, 3 weight sessions, 3 walks, and then making a hiking gear list in Notion. So that's gonna tick off something on each of those actionable steps for each of those goals. And then any other additional personal tasks that I would have added to my to-do list for the week that are outside of my bigger goal. So the whole plan for me is to make this work into my life and figure out how to like work with it instead of like having it like feel like it's something that has to take away from other areas of my life. So my fail-safe plan, and this is really important to me because I feel like this can be like self-explanatory or doesn't need to be said, but I feel like it goes a long way when you do just get this out on paper and just like verbalize or like write out like what you're going to do in different situations. Like, and you know yourself best. And I always say that you know yourself best. You know your life and your obligations and the things that might come up that have come up in the past. So really think about the things that have maybe gotten in the way of goals in the past or that have come up. Like for me, my period is something that consistently gets in the way when I'm trying to accomplish like physical goals for the week. And I'm really trying to work with it, you know, during this time. My fail-safe plan, I've talked about like what's the mindset I want to have during this, that I want to embody during the pursuit of this goal. And for me, it's do not have an all or nothing mindset. If I have to miss a day of training for unforeseen circumstances, I will pick back up from the next day of training. I will not start back at day 1. I will keep pushing forward because this is about building consistent habits and showing up for myself, not about getting a perfect attendance score. So I wrote that into my fail-safe plan as like the mindset that I want to embody during this goal. And so I've even wrote like if an event comes up, so I get invited to a birthday party or a barbecue, we're going into summer, those kind of things, I will get up early to make sure that I can fit in the training for the day. So it's like I'm not gonna wake up and be like, oh, I didn't know I was gonna go to a barbecue this weekend and now it's come up, I really want to go, so I'm just gonna sleep in and then skip my training. No, we're gonna get up early, we're gonna be intentional, and we're going to get it done. If my period is really painful, I will attempt stretching in a light walk, but if that's too much, I will swap out a rest day and make up for it on another training day. So this isn't about like not listening to my body. I will be listening to my body and resting when needed, especially during my period. But I won't use it as an excuse to like write off a whole week of training. You know what I mean? Like I will swap it out for another day. Like, okay, I'm going to rest these 2 days. And on these 2 days when I was supposed to rest, I'm going to do a 30-minute walk or whatever the training plan says. Something like that. It's like, it's helping you build in things that you're going to do to avoid making excuses in pursuit of your goals. So I do dog sitting. So if a booking makes it difficult to get outdoors for a walk or the weather is bad, sometimes I have dogs that really don't do well walking on the leash, so I can only take them out for very short walks and like have to stay away from other dogs. And it's like really it's complicated. It's not like a leisurely kind of walk. So if that happens, I have something in place for that. If it's raining, I have something in place for that. So I will use my treadmill instead. That's it. I don't know what I thought it was going to be. I'll use my treadmill instead. I will do something indoors because I want to walk outdoors as much as possible because the level of the terrain, I'll be walking outdoors in the fresh air. It will just be more enjoyable. But I live in Melbourne and the weather doesn't always allow for that. So that's my fail safe. And like I said, like it's nothing like extensive. It's just putting it out there, being intentional. Okay, if this happens, I'm not gonna act like, oh, I didn't see this coming and now I can't do my walk. No, I thought about it ahead of time and now I know what I'm going to do if something like that comes up. And this isn't about like having something written down for every little thing that could go wrong. It's just starting a list of things that you know are very likely to go wrong down the line or have in the past, so that you already have ideas of like how you're gonna counteract that. And if something else comes up that's not on one of those lists, one of those options might be similar to what might be helpful in those cases. This is the stuff that really helps me show up for myself and be intentional when doing so. So yeah, that's how I like to do it, and that's just what's working for me right now. I know it might be a bit much for some people, but I am just so passionate about making action-based goals versus results-based goals. I hope this gives a clearer picture on how I actually break that down and work it into my life. I'm just a firm believer that when you focus on the action needed to be taken to get to that goal, you are far more likely to actually reach that goal. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Was this helpful? Let me know. Seriously, let me know. And let me know what a goal is that you're working towards right now. Do you have any goal setting tips that are working for you right now? I would love to hear them. I am always open to like tweaking my goal setting process or doing things that are more efficient. So definitely let me know in the comments what works for you. I'm going to be posting regular updates of my walking training over on Instagram. I already started posting about it over there. So if you want to keep up with all of that and see how I'm going with my new little fitness watch, feel free to follow along over there and cheer me on because I'm gonna need it, okay? I already woke up this week not feeling like doing any of my training, but I realized once my fitness watch reminded me that my period is due today. So I got it all done. I'm really proud of myself. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning in to another video soon. Bye!